Yes, we continue with our news review right here on Power Breakfast, right here on Citizen TV. And we've just been discussing the doctor's strike. The governors will be attending that meeting, very important meeting today. We do hope that something good comes from that meeting. Let's now talk about something else that affects the governors directly. Now, of course, the one that has created so much buzz is this withdrawal of VIP security for two governors, that is Amason Kingi of Kilifi and Hassan Joho of Mombasa County. And I don't know, has anyone of you actually felt the same? Do you still have your VIP security, Bwana Kivuta Kibwana? You still have your security detail? None has been withdrawn?
None.
Bwana Ukur Yatani?
None has been withdrawn.
Yes. Bwana Mweke, you still have your security detail. So that is has been established. The only governors affected so far are Hassan Joho of Mombasa and Governor Kingi of Kilifi County. What does that make you feel, that when the national government is at liberty to punish you in that manner, that if you disagree with the national government, they can actually withdraw your security detail?
Well, I think we must first of all come to the point of why do we have security detail? Because as major leaders in the country, we take decisions that can jeopardize you.
Yes.
And as a result, there is the necessity to have some security protection. And of course, this is something that is in the law. It is not a favor.
Yes.
And in actual fact, in some instances, even after you retire, there is also provision for security again. So you see, it's not a political matter. This is a matter of the law. This is usually a very straightforward matter. And even if we disagree, that can't really be used. Unless, of course, I start abusing the security. Like, have security, and I tell them, let's go and steal together or something. Then that is an outright abuse, and it can be questioned. So it is not correct that some of the people in the police force, or senior people, will read the president's mind to mean that the president has been anchored by so and so, therefore remove the security. I think that is wrong.
Bwana Ukur Yatani, what do you think you as a part of the Council of Governors will do? Because it's not the first time this is happening. I think it's the second time it's happening to the Mombasa Governor Joho, even Kingi. I think it's the second time, because it's consistently been seen as anti-government, and we see this happening over and over again. Of course, it is a cause of concern, not just for them, for you, because at one point you could be seen like you're in opposition to the government as well.
Thank you very much. I think for us we need to understand that provision of security is really not a favor. It's a right of every Kenyan. And for that matter, senior officers like governors and others are highly primed, and given the circumstance of the day, there are a lot of challenges and there are a lot of difficulties in discharging your duty, making decisions that affects other people. And for whatever reason, people they have every reason to make sure that maybe don't even exist. If I give the example of northern Kenya, particularly Mandera, how many times have the governor been targeted? Not by ordinary people, but by Al-Shabaab. If now, uniformly, you withdraw security across board, in that case, then you mean then there's really no need to have a governor there, and the governor maybe has to relocate elsewhere, and then we've not done this country any justice. Security is based on need. The number of security personnel I need might not be the same for Mombasa. Maybe the person in Mandera need more than even 20 based on the circumstances of land. I think it's really unfortunate that if security is withdrawn based on the circumstance of a single incident, I don't think it's really fair.
Of course, people will say that Governor Joho should have seen it coming, and probably he knows what he did. But the explanation given by the police is that in Mombasa there's generally been an improvement in the security situation, so probably the governor doesn't need as much security as he did previously.
You can't say Governor Joho should have seen it coming. Something that is in the law, something that is your right you could never imagine that any sane government or person can deny you that, because that in itself is illegal in terms of that act. First of all, we're in politics, and politics is competition. And competition means that you want to cross the finishing line first. And that's why you have rules, even in sports. You can't go, and when somebody is about to score, you kick them and cause a foul. That's why it's a foul, and the game is stopped, and people get consequences for that. And I think this is what we are seeing the Jubilee government doing. They are saying that, listen, we are seeing some very serious competition, and let us play dirty so that the person does not win. Now, like my governor colleagues have said, security is an enabler. It's not just that you become a leader and you're given security, or it's not a big man syndrome. There are very serious decisions you make, especially as heads of governments, that affect the bad people wrongly. Yeah? And you're elected to do certain things for the citizenry, and as you're doing them, you step on other people's toes. So for you to be able to do your job, you need to be protected so that you can think about working and not think about who's looking to cut my neck.
Yes.
And I'll give you a good example. The other day we were removing some illegal car washes around Nairobi that were damaging our roads, which we spent millions of shillings building that infrastructure, because they were using sewer water to wash cars. They were also causing a health cholera outbreak on the people that they were using, which was now putting a strain on our hospitals. We stopped that, but some politicians went and sent 50 youth to my house. Yeah. Now you can imagine, if I did not have security in my house, what would have happened? Yeah, probably I've gotten injured, my family would have gotten injured, my property injured, and that would have kept me very scared to work. So I say, listen, I'm not going to be able to work, which is what I was elected for, because I'm not protected to be able to work for the people. So it's a very dangerous thing that we are trading, where when you disagree, and you're not disagreeing abusively. I mean, you saw the clip, Governor Joho just said, listen, the Jubilee government came into place in 2013. This project was from 2010. It's a Kenya Municipal Program project. It's the World Bank, so please don't mislead the people. I mean, that was the truth. But why would you go at such measures to do that?
And I would want you gentlemen to comment on that clip, because fine, probably it is in the law that every governor should have the security detail. But there's something to be said as well about Governor Joho's treatment of the matter and his remarks at an event where the president was standing right next to him. Did he go about it the right way? Should, even when you're in opposition with the president as a governor, should you confront him directly, so directly, to his face?
Well, everybody has the way in which they work. And so long as you don't, say lies, or you don't disrespect in an obvious way.
But it could be as a sign of disrespect to the president.
And you are head of a county government, and the president is the head of the national government. Of course, there are ways in which you converse so that everybody feels comfortable. But this is also the year of elections, and everybody is trying to make a point so that the electorate, is happy.
Would you do the same?
I usually operate in a different way. I usually operate personally, in a different way, and so maybe I wouldn't speak that way. But it doesn't mean that people who speak that way, I say that they are, I don't say that they are wrong. But I think even going back to this question of the withdrawal of that's a separate matter.
Yes.
And you can, if you feel that he has said things that are not appropriate, there's also the legal way of proceeding against him, so that it is detached. If you feel, there are courts and there's and so on and so forth. But I don't think that's a matter that really one can take to court.
Are you in agreement with Governor Joho's treatment of the matter?
As my colleague, His Excellency Gwan has just indicated, we have different ways of, reacting to situations. One could be factual, that maybe the projects were actually the 2010 projects, and they are not, Jubilee projects. But people have different reactions. Maybe I will have reacted differently. I personally have engaged the president directly and in advance, and expressed, and tell him, you know, this is really not right, or this should be done differently.
In private?
I would have done that.
Yes.
But the fact is that the fact Joe mentioned that in public, I don't think he committed any crime. If that is a fact.
So he wasn't wrong?
I don't think it was wrong.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of how, you know, courtesy we will have actually demanded. Maybe you'll have shown a bit of respect to the president.
So in as far as courtesy is concerned, he probably was off line?
Well, it depends, but for me, I would have done differently.
Yes,
but you know, we are in a political year. This is an election year. People are now playing politics. And that's why you saw even Governor Joho say, hii ni siasa. Siasa tumeanza. So before we debate too much, I always like to tell people, you put yourself in those shoes. I'll give you an example of Governor Kingi. Governor Kingi started that water pumping project from Malindi himself when he was the MP for Magarini. He even put CDF money to do the feasibility study for the same, for the waterworks. Then, because it's an election year, and the government feels that they must come and show the people what they have done, they come and take your project that you started and say that it is theirs. How do you keep quiet and let that happen because he is the president? We won't disrespect him. You have to come out and talk for yourself and say, listen, no, actually, let me put the record straight. I'm the one who started this project. It is a project that was supposed to be for Malindi Water Company. It was funded by the French, and I put this much money of CDF into it, so don't mislead the public. Otherwise, if you do that, then you're really letting all your hard work be somebody else's gains. And I'm sure the governors will also agree with me. What we've been seeing happening as the president is going around is they're actually going around and launching county projects. You know, hospitals are county projects. Some of those roads are county projects. Water is county projects. Well, it will be argued that those are county projects that are devolved functions. Yes. So why don't we just account for what we've been doing for 5 years? Okay. And there's nothing wrong to ask somebody to account for what they've been doing for 5 years. Okay.
Now this, whatever remarks were made by those two governors from the coast seem to have had a ripple effect. Now we see this letter written by one of the police bosses directing that all police under county governments should stop using chase cars in convoys for governors. Now, I don't know about you, but I have seen quite a number of convoys where governors are riding and they have police chase cars. Do you have use for those?
Well, maybe my county is a rural county where that is really not necessary. Even even most of the times, because of again saving money, sometimes I just go my own car, even without a county security car.
So you drive around in one car?
Many times I do that without even a county chase car. But there are times when the police escort us to places because there are projects that we do together. Like if I'm doing something with the county commissioner, if I'm doing something with the national government, they will definitely have the police and so on coming to that particular function. And that's why it would be odd, so that when I am doing a project with the national government, the police escort us. When I'm doing some key projects as a county government, especially if there's security implication, the police cannot escort us. I think some of these things that are happening are not good for now and for the future. In terms of the counties and national government should come closer and closer, even as they are distinct, but we are also interdependent. So we should be coming closer and closer and closing the ranks so that the devolution system works better, because truly we can't escape it. Devolution is here to stay. And however long it takes, it will be streamlined and it will be the national norm.
Governor Ukur Yatani, do you have use for police chase cars in your convoy? Do you feel you need them?
Definitely.
Yes.
But security is need-based. If I'm here in Nairobi and maybe on the way from Nyeri or to this place, I might not need it. But when I'm within my county, being a border county, there are a lot of challenges. Security, for most parts of northern Kenya, we need police escort. And when we are within there, we have our own security details that takes care of should any situation arise. So there is need.
Yes.
But not, it's really demand driven.
Yes.
When the situation demands it, you get it.
Now,
And
that's why it comes to Nairobi, and of course, even you yourself, Bwana Mweke, at some point you were accused of having a long chase car, a long convoy with chase cars, just to direct traffic and to open the way for you. And that letter, and I think I have a copy somewhere, even talks about governors using chase cars to lead them on the wrong side of the road, so that you're going against oncoming traffic, but because you're the governor or the deputy governor and you have a police chase car, everyone has to give you way.
Like I say, these are...
But that has been happening.
Like I say, these are enablers, and chase cars is not about traffic control. Chase cars is about having an extra support car in case something goes wrong or for security reasons. Like, for example, you've had in northern Kenya, right? Governor Okur probably needs 6 bodyguards. You can't fix six people in one car. So you put them in another car that follows you around. Yeah. In areas that are crime prone, like even sometimes here in Nairobi, what happens if my car gets a puncture? One, maybe I might be in a dangerous area, I can get into another car and run. Or 2, maybe I'm headed to a very important function. Sometimes I'm even given some duties to go and welcome visiting presidents, and I have to be at the airport at a certain time. My car can break down like any other car. So you need to, it's an enabler for you to be able to do your job. So the chase cars actually help you clear the road faster on your way to the airport? Sometimes they do, yes, if you have that need. But sometimes they're also for security reasons or as a backup. Yeah. But let's talk about the police escort. These are chase cars, not even the police escort, really. The chase cars, the ones that just usually even drive in front of you. You have a police car with even a siren, just to clear the way for you. No, it's not just, that's what I'm explaining. It's not just to clear the way for you, it's to carry extra security people. It acts as a backup car in case something happens to your car, or sometimes it helps you get somewhere quicker. I'll give you an example. When we were doing Kenya at 50, I was expected to go and pick a state guest, former president of Ghana, Joe Mahama, at 4 p.m. Yeah, at 4:30 p.m. I was supposed to be in Kibera to welcome President Uhuru Kenyatta launching an NIS project. How would I have done it? And when State House gave me that program, I told them it's not possible. I can't get from the airport to Kibera within 10 minutes. And they said, we'll give you police escort. And I got police escort and was able to do both functions. So I was able to work. That's why I'm saying they are enablers. Sometimes so there is necessity. There's necessity. Yeah. I could be going to Kibera today where there's a problem between tenants and landlords, and the place is volatile. Okay? The police can't fix it. You need an elected leader to go and sit down and talk to the people and tell them this is what we do. But the situation is not good. It's volatile, like the problem we had with hawkers and business people in Isili the other day. And then you say you need police escort to get there, or you need police when you're there. So you tell the OCPD, Bwana OCPD, why don't you meet me at the Ngong Road roundabout and take me to Kibera so that we can solve these issues. And without that escort, you won't be able to go to Kibera and solve the problems that are there as an elected leader. So these are enablers to help you to do your work. So what happens now that the police at your other county level have been given a direct warning that if any of them uses a chase car in a convoy for a governor or a deputy governor, they will be punished? It's very dangerous, because even right now in Northeastern, and the governor for Marsabit will tell you, even normal people in buses who are traveling up country to Northeastern are given police escort. So now what you're saying is you can escort everybody else but a governor. It makes it very dangerous. Do you feel you'll be safe? Do you feel your operations will not be affected with this new directive?
You know, I think in all counties there are security issues. In some counties there are more than others. For example, in 2014, I almost got killed in the precincts of the county assembly when people shot, you know, at me. So that in that situation, you know, if you don't have security, even to advise you, you know, because when they were shooting the guns, I thought, you know, maybe they were shooting them up. But somebody told me they're actually shooting them at us. So even for advice, we have sand walls in Makueni County where young people are being armed. Some few young people are being armed with bows and arrows to make sure that they send illegal sand harvesting. So again, you see, this is a government. Of course, we don't have the security docket. We don't have enforcement officers who carry guns. And I think it is not good to use the fact of supplying security or to use the corruption authority to target people who are innocent, or to do things that really show that one is trying to undermine the county government. I think that is the past.
Yes.
It is in the future.
Do you think it is as a direct result of the actions by Governor Joho and Kingi that you are now being punished because they misbehaved?
Well, it appears so, but I think that's very unfortunate, because how many senior government officers have these security details? We have cabinet secretaries, and quite a number. So why target the governors, and why generalize?
Yes.
I think they're all the
You
motive.
feel targeted.
The motive is not good.
Yes.
There are better ways of dealing with unique situations rather than generalizing.
Okay.
The fact that let's say the situation of Marsabit or Mandera or Wajir or even Turkana, you tell me not to have security details, I'll continue to have them as long as I need them, unless they're withdrawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
but also what that could do, and it could bring a very dangerous precedent, is because the governors are elected people and they must work for their people. If the national government decides to withdraw security from the governors will have two choices. One, either stop working for their people, or two, get their own security so they can continue working.
Yes.
And you can imagine what any good leader will do. They'll say, we want to continue working for our people. So now the governors are going to find alternative means of securing themselves so that they can continue working, because these are just enablers to ensure that you continue working.
Yes.
Then that's where you find, like in Nigeria, you find militias and all those kinds of things happening. So we are saying, let's be consistent, let's be tolerant, and let's just deal, I like what the Ambassador Yukul said, let's deal with unique situations uniquely, but just don't generalize and blanket punishment.
I was actually looking
quickly
for this letter written to this effect by Kingori Mwangi, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, and it's dated 6th January. Police chase cars escort of county government officials, and it says, and I read, quote, Police headquarters has noted with a lot of concern that police vehicles and police officers are escorting county government officials across the country and sometimes clearing roads for them at the expense and inconvenience of other road users. This must never occur again. Must never occur again is repeated. Regional coordinators, that's county commanders and divisional police I think bosses, are directed to take severe disciplinary action against any such rogue officers immediately, including interdicting such officers. This directive includes officers from other services and any police vehicle provided by any county government. You're further directed not to allow any county government official vehicles to use the wrong side of any road in the country. Besides the presidency, CCM, all other protocols regarding chase cars and escorts are done as directed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. All to note that any officer reported to violate this directive shall receive severe punishment.
That's a very harsh letter. And it's really like saying that the governor is an endangered species. We are not part of the leadership of Kenya. Even permanent secretaries, even people less than permanent secretaries, there is that issue. And it's good to really have a proper policy paper on the supply of security to whoever. But I think there's another worrying dimension to all this. In an election year, if you say that Governor A, you will not be supplied with security because we are not happy with you, it means that actually even your campaigning in the next elections is qualified, is kind of undermined, because there are certain situations where violence can be manufactured and you are not going to be able to campaign. So I think as we go towards the election, things like this, including the things that Bwana Duale said, those are really worrying things that we need to sober up. We need not to raise the temperatures that much and so on. But the tone of that letter tells me that there was a lot of discussion before it was written.
It was an angry letter.
But also on that letter, something that is very disturbing, it says, do not give support or escort to any county vehicle, official county vehicle, and it shall not go on the wrong side, and so on and so forth. Now you'll realize county vehicles include ambulances and fire engines. So you're telling the police, if somebody is dying and they're in a county ambulance, they have to sit in traffic, don't rush them to hospital. You're saying if there's a whole village or estate burning, you're telling the fire brigade person, don't put on your siren, don't go on the wrong side, you have a county number plate, you are condemned. So those people must burn. And if you try and do that, you lose your jobs. That's what he's telling the police people. It's a very dangerous precedence to take.
Well,
yeah.
you have something.
No, I was just wondering, the tone of the letter.
Yes.
Why? What's the motivation? There's too much bitterness in the letter, and quite unprofessional.
Okay. Well, it remains to be seen. I don't know now what will happen to you gentlemen, because this is a directive to all the police bosses working with you, who, as you said previously, have been accompanying you, as they should, especially with regard to places where there are security situations and you need police protection and direction. Anyway, that's we want to wrap up our news review this morning, but I also want to give you an opportunity to say one or two things. Remember, this is the very first news review for this year. This is the very first episode of Power Breakfast. So previously we've always been giving the agenda for the week, but this one will allow you to give the agenda for the month or the year, probably, if you have anything to say. Of course, the drought situation in the northern parts of this country, it's getting out of hand. I'll give you an opportunity to talk about that. I know you are very much concerned with the happenings in Parliament with this issue with the changes in electoral laws. You could comment on that as well. Jonathan Mweke, of course, any agenda you'd want to talk about, give us the agenda for this week. Let's start with the Governor from Marsabit.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a great opportunity to be here at your studio. My big concern, the looming drought in northern Kenya, actually most part of the country, but very severe in northern Kenya. It is likely to erode all the gains we've made under devolution, because for us devolution is life. Within the last 3-4 years, we've seen a lot of changes in terms of the better economic empowerment of the people. But unfortunately, the drought is going to reverse all that. And our resources at the county level are quite limited, and we are not able to address and manage the drought of that scale. So we are appealing to the government, and we've really asked the government to declare a national disaster, because like Marsabit, we've already lost 30 to 40% of the livestock, and I'm sure in the next 1 month we are likely to go up to 50%, and that's the livelihood of the people. We are already experiencing serious challenges with water. We are tracking water to more than 200-300 centers, which is going to be very expensive. And doing one round of food distribution across a vast county like Marsabit, over 78,000 square kilometers, you would need more than 150 million. I do not have that money. I'm asking the government to declare a national disaster because it is, particularly the most parts of northern Kenya. The situation is out of control. We are even unable to get support from development partners, particularly humanitarian organizations, because they are looking at the government. They say, look, the government has not declared a national disaster. So they said that maybe they think the national government can support. So we think the situation is getting out of hand, and we are asking for support from national government, humanitarian organizations, and even civil society to come to our aid. Okay. Things are very, very bad.
Of course, the situation is already even being, the effects of the drought are also being felt in Nairobi, because the water rationing started last week. Levels at Ndakaini Dam are almost at zero. You can only imagine now how bad it is in some other parts of this country, if at all in Nairobi already having issues with water. Yeah, of course, Bwana Kimwana, the biggest headline on the Standard this morning is the big decision. Will it be protests or fresh talks. Of course, this has to do with the changes in election laws as passed by the National Assembly and the Senate, awaiting the President's assent. Of course, the opposition is up in arms. They're meeting this week. The delegates are meeting, I think, on Wednesday at Bomas of Kenya to decide on the way forward. What words do you have when, in as far as this is concerned?
For me, it was unfortunate, and I also need to say in Makueni, also the drought situation, because after the first, part of rain, we now haven't had rain for almost 3 weeks a month, and our crops are drying. So it's really a major problem in the country, although in the northeastern Kenya it's very bad. Now, what I thought was very, very unfortunate was when the two sides of our politics come together and they say that let us negotiate about electoral law, just like we did in IPPG. And they agree, they come up with a common law, they pass it as is, as they've agreed. When something like that is reopened, then obviously that is a recipe for disagreement, for major problems later. And of course, Senate took us through a round of public participation, major stakeholders. And if one looks at the answer of Senate on this matter, most of these people say that the law that was passed by the National Assembly was not good, that we shouldn't particularly go back to a manual system in certain aspects, because we have progressed so much in terms of electronic regulation of elections, and that is the primary way of going about it. And even if you want a backup, you can still get a backup which is electronic. So when Senate now passed the same law, it means that the public participation was a charade. And if you go to court, I'm sure the court on the aspect of public participation, what it means, will be able to say that Senate did not do it properly. So I still believe that there should be further consensus, and the President should not sign this law before there is more conversation, so that the section 44A, which reintroduces manual backup, does not become the section 2A of the Constitution, which really created a lot of problems for us. So I think that there is need to talk about this thing together in the two divides, because one of the problems that we have is it's not going to be easy to win this election in the first round, because we are so close. And the reason we are so close is because we are organizing our politics on ethnic basis. So if you get certain groups of tribes on one area, on one side, you get another group on another side, even if you say you're doing a national thing, but still it is blocks of ethnicities. And so if you have an equal number, then it means it's not easy to win at first round. And that is why everybody is looking at how can I supplement the votes from my ethnic groups, the collection of ethnic groups, to make sure that I have 50 plus one. And for the future of this country, having experienced 2007-8, I think as political leaders we need to sober up. We need to realize that there is a lot of danger in having elections where there is clear issues that do not bring fairness, peace and all that. And because we have been there, I personally would urge all the leadership to really realize that one doesn't have to do everything to win an election, and then after that not have a country to govern.